Welcome once again, my friends, and thank you for stopping by to listen to an old storyteller. Today we have a story from Finland, and the title of this story is The Pig-Headed Wife. There was once a farmer who was married to the most contrary wife in the world. Her name was Maya. If he expected Maya to say yes, she would always say no. And if he expected her to say no, she would always say yes. If he said the soup was too hot, Maya would instantly insist that it was too cold. She would do nothing that he wanted her to do, and she always insisted on doing everything that he did not want her to do. Like most contrary people, Maya was really very stupid, and the farmer, after he had been married to her for a few years, knew exactly how to manage her. For instance, at Christmas one year, he wanted to make a big feast for his friends and neighbors. Did he tell his wife so? Not he. Instead, a few weeks beforehand, he remarked casually, "Christmas is coming, and I suppose everyone will expect us to have fine white bread, but I don't think we ought to. It's too expensive. Black bread is good enough for us." "Black bread indeed!" cried Maya. "Not at all. We're going to have white bread, and you needn't say any more about it. Black bread at Christmas. To hear you talk, people would suppose we are beggars." The farmer pretended to be grieved, and he said, "Well, my dear, have white bread if your heart is set on it. But I hope you don't expect to make any pies." "Not make any pies? Just let me tell you, I expect to make all the pies I want." "Well now, Maya, if we have pies, I don't think we ought to have any wine." "No wine? I like that. Of course we'll have wine on Christmas." The farmer was much pleased, but, still pretending to protest, he said, "Well, if we spend money on wine, we better not expect to buy any coffee." "What? No coffee on Christmas? Who ever heard of such a thing? Of course we'll have coffee." "Well, I'm not going to quarrel with you. Get a little coffee if you like, but just enough for you and me, for I don't think we ought to have any guests." "What? No guests on Christmas? Indeed, and you're wrong if you think we're not going to have a house full of guests." The farmer was overjoyed, but, still pretending to grumble, he said, "If you have the house full of people, you needn't think I'm going to sit at the head of the table, for I'm not." "You are too!" screamed his wife. "That's exactly where you're going to sit." Maya, don't get so excited. I will sit there if you insist, but if I do, you mustn't expect me to pour the wine." "And why not? It would be a strange thing if you didn't pour the wine at your own table." All right, I'll pour it. But you mustn't expect me to taste it beforehand." "Of course you're going to taste it beforehand." This was exactly what the farmer wanted his wife to say. So you see, by pretending to oppose her at every turn, he was able to have the big Christmas party that he wanted, and he was able to feast to his heart's content with all his friends and relatives and neighbors. Time went by, and Maya grew more and more contrary, if such a thing were possible. Summer came, and the haymaking season started. They were going to a distant meadow to toss hay and had to cross an angry little river on a footbridge made of one slender plank. The farmer crossed in safety, and then he called back to his wife, "Walk very carefully, Maya, for the plank is not strong." "I will not walk carefully," the wife declared. She flung herself onto the plank with all her weight, and when she got to the middle of the stream, she jumped up and down, just to show her husband how contrary she could be. Well, the plank broke with a snap, and Maya fell into the water, the current carried her off, and she was drowned. Her husband, seeing what had happened, ran madly upstream, shouting, "Help! Help!" The haymakers heard him and came running to see what was the matter. "My wife has fallen into the river," he cried, "and the current has carried her body away." "What ails you?" the haymakers said. "Are you mad? If the current has carried your wife away, she's floating downstream, not upstream." "Any other woman would float downstream," the farmer said. "Yes, but you know Maya. She's so contrary, she'd float upstream every time." "That's true," the haymakers said. "She would." So all afternoon the farmer searched upstream for his wife's body, but he never found it. When night came, he went home and had a good supper of all the things he liked to eat, which Maya would never let him have. Thank you once again for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this story, please press that like button. Also, please help an old storyteller out by subscribing to my channel. The next story will be posted in a few days, so until then, may your story continue to be a good one.